My friend and I went hiking in the painted desert next to where we lived. Places we had hiked 1,000 times growing up, and we were only maybe half a mile from my house when we climbed a mesa, and there was a big valley full of gravel and fossils and nothing else on the other side. It was huge. There was no way we could have missed it on all our other hikes. If we approached from any other direction, it wasn't there, just mesas and the valleys between, boulders, petrified wood, and usual painted desert stuff. But climb over that one mesa, and there it is. So we went back and went down there because we were dumbass teenagers, and we realized there were also bones in there, a lot of them, rabbits and coyotes mostly. And we were stuck for hours, trying to find a way out that wasn't too gravelly and steep. We just kept sliding back down. Finally managed to get back out the way we came. But I really was starting to think we were going to die in a place that doesn't exist. I have a lot, but this one is kind of fresh on my mind. It was kinda late at night, around 11. My ex ordered me a lift so I could go to his house. I got in the car and had a bad feeling in my spine. But the dude was already there and canceling would have cost $24. Plus my mom and boyfriend knew, and if I didn't text in even a half hour they'd know what was up and had tracking on my phone. The dude started talking to me immediately and had kind of creepy eyes. I was nice but not in the mood to talk to him. He asked if I lived at the apartment, and I said no, which was pretty creepy to me. He started talking out of nowhere about how he moved from the country Jordan and had no friends or anyone to talk to, and I didn't know what to say and apologize, sort of. He talked about not knowing what field of work he wanted to go into and asked about me, and I answered broadly that I was an artist. He then blurted out if I could draw him a picture of himself and wanted a way for me to send the picture to him when I was done without any lead up. Specifically was forceful about giving him my phone number. I started to panic and lied, giving him a burner Insta account purposely so he didn't have that info. I also noticed the whole time he was driving very slowly. I wanted to text my ex and mom, but thought for a second I left my phone at home. The dude literally offered to drive back to my apartment despite being 10 miles away and doing it for free, which really made my blood rush. I left a hair strand in case crap hit the fan. He kept going on about being so alone and how he's tried dating apps even though I mentioned I was going to my boyfriend's house. It felt like forever. I kept swerving away from his convo, and then I was finally at my ex's place. He was furious and contacted Lyft. I blocked him and deleted the burner account. One time I used Tinder and saw that same dude. Blocked. I feel like if I gave him my number or told him that I lived where he picked me up that something very bad could have happened. When I was about 10, my parents decided to move from Queensland to Melbourne. We moved states by car because we had a dog and didn't want to risk the whole pets and plane situation. The trip was about 2 days long. So we were driving through the Pilliga Forest at this point, which is a very dense amount of forest land between New South Wales and Queensland, I think. And it's known to have a lot of paranormal history and scary stories. It was the middle of the night and we had to pull over on the side of the road to let our dog out for a pee. So we all decided we'd get out of the car and stretch our legs. At this point, my older brother and I were around the side of the car on our phones. Dad was with the dog towards the side of the trees, and Mum was fixing the dog's bedding in the boot. Out of absolutely nowhere, some old creepy looking man, and when I say creepy, I mean like slasher, serial killer creepy. This guy had come up behind my mum out of nowhere and had asked what we were doing out in the forest. My mum, very clearly creeped out, answered that we were moving states by car. The guy then rambles off something about travel time and plane expenses and stuff. He then says, "Stay right here, I'll go get you something," and he walks off into the dark behind the car. Keep in mind, we were dead in the middle of the Pilliga at this point. There are no servos or buildings or parks or anything in this forest, so where this guy came from, we had no idea and were fully convinced he was going to murder us. He could have gotten away with it too. After the guy had walked far enough, my dad literally picked up our dog, who is a fully grown Dalmatian, and shoved him back in the boot. My mum was ushering us into the car and my parents drove off so fast I've never seen it before. Till this day I still have no idea where that guy came from. He wasn't even using a flashlight. And it still scares me to think that because the forest is so dense and is rarely driven through, he really could have gotten away with killing us. He might have been a nice guy though, but you never know. When I was younger, I used to watch Ghost Adventures on TV every night. One day, I and some friends decided to go and try to record a ghost voice as people did in the TV show. We had this underground parking in a big building that was the perfect place. We went there at night and started recording and asking questions in our native language. All lights were off for bonus creepiness to the place. After doing a couple of recordings, nothing was heard when playing back the recorder. We did another try. However, this time, while we were trying to communicate, one of my friends said that he was scared, but not in our native language. He said it in English. We decided to stop recording and go outside, so we listened to the audio in a safe place. Once we heard the part where he said he was scared, a girl's voice was heard saying, "Then you should be crying." Everyone freaked out since that was a little girl's voice that we did not hear at all when we were down there, but could be heard clearly on the recording. Half an hour later, we got a fire extinguisher and decided to use it inside and visit the underground parking the next night when the dust has settled on the ground and we can see if there were any footsteps. The next night we go back again. The dust has settled and we look and carefully inspect the area. There were footsteps next to a wall that is in the corner where there are no other exits or entrances. I'm talking about small footsteps that come out of the wall and end like a meter away from it, where it meets the center of the place, nowhere close to the exit. We decided to give the recorder one more try, but this time we spoke English. We began recording. Everyone was in the center of the place, and then I asked if you could understand. "Can you please knock on the wall twice?" 2 knocks were heard on a piece of wood, though everything was concrete and there was no wooden object in that place. We all got scared so much that we ran away and never visited that place again. The weirdest part was when I heard the knocks. It was physically almost impossible for me to start moving to the exit, like someone was not letting me go. A very disturbing story. I may go back one day and give it another go, but now that there are much better cameras, recorders, and such stuff, it could be possible to find what's going on 12 years later, because it keeps bothering me to this day. The time I had been going for a walk down the road with my elderly dog Pinto. About a mile, and a large van had stopped in the road in front of us. The person driving got out and began walking towards us. I didn't move, still trying to figure out what the person looked like, when my 8-year-old rat terrier burst into a sprint in the opposite direction. Trusting her instincts and already creeped out, I ran as well. Keep in mind, I live in the country and was in at least a third of a mile of just cornfields on either side of the road, no houses. I ran for my life. I can't think of a time I ran that much and that fast, but Pinto was always ahead of me, not slowing down for a second. The whole time we ran down that road, the guy had gotten back in his van and was following us at just enough distance to where whoever was driving could keep up with us, a few feet back even at Pinto, and I was the fastest. The second Pinto and I turned onto one of the more main roads where houses were. The guy took a dirt road going a different direction. Pinto was still freaked out and running, and being young at the time, so was I. We ran the rest of the way home. I don't remember a time I was ever that scared before. Pinto got lots of water and treats. I still credit her for saving me.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe to stay tuned for more true stories.